We are still talking simple interest. Welcome to the last section of the examples in simple interest. Example 1.8, 1.9, and 1.10 is my target for this session. Now, I've talked about the formulas. All the formulas, you now definitely master them. And I'm not going to be going back to the formulas anymore. Now I will be just responding to the question and still showing the workings from the formulas. It says a money lender charges simple interest at the rate of 18 cents per month per 24 rand lent. That means this money lender, which they call umatshonisa, whenever this money lender gives you 24 rand, then he will charge you 18 cents for every 24 rand that is given. And know that these are cents. So now if these are cents, then we need to make sure that the amount that he is lending is also in cents when we go to the calculations. I'll talk about that now. What annual, take note, what annual rate of simple interest is he charging? We are concerned on the interest rate that he is charging. And know that our N must be in the same time frame as the interest. Then the question, where is N here? Let us read again. The money lender charges simple interest at a rate of 18 cents per month. That means for every month he is charging 18 cents. And that means in this time we are looking at 1 month of borrowing, or 1 month of giving money to whoever is borrowing money. Remember, the money lender is investing, but somebody is borrowing money. Now, meaning our period is only for 1 month, because we only know 18 cents that is paid per month, or that is charged in fact per month. So now we need to calculate the interest rate, which is annual rate of interest. Interest rate is equal to interest divide, or interest amount divided by A times by N. So we know that it is interest divided by amount invested times by N, the period in which the amount is invested. And we know very sure that we have 18 cents. Now, if this is 18 cents, then we need to say how many cents do we have in 24 rands. Remember, 1 rand is equal to 100 cents. 1 rand equals 100 cents. I don't know why it doesn't say equal. 1 rand equals 100 cents. I wanted to write that one there. 1 rand equals 100 cents. So now we need to say if we have 24 rands, then it has to be 2400 cents. To be honest, 2400 cents. So in simple terms, we just say 24 times by 100 in order for us to get 2400 cents, because every 1 rand contains 100 cents. So that means it will be 2400 cents, which is 2400 cents. If our interest is in cents, the amount that is invested must also be in cents. We can't have cents here and we have rand at the bottom. Then we multiply this by 1 month out of 12 months, because he is charging 18 cents per month. So our N is for 1 month. Then after, we need now to further do the calculation of the interest. I just want to highlight the fact that you could have just used the rands. Remember, we know that 18 cents is 0.18, meaning the 18 cents that is a rand equivalent. We could have divided this by 24 rand, that won't be a problem, and you multiply by 1 over 12. Either way you use, it does not matter. You still get to the same answer. Now let us choose the first one. We have 18 divided by open brackets 2400 times by 1 divided by 12. We close the brackets, equals, then we multiply this by 100, we get 9%. That means this money lender, or this machonisa, is charging 9% per annum. Why do you say per annum? Because they said the annual rate, and you can see that our N is converted to annual equivalent, 1 month out of 12 months in a period of a year, which is an annum. Or else you could have said 0.18 divide by, or 0.18 divide by, open brackets, 24 times by 1 divided by 12, close brackets, equals times by 100. Either way, we still get to the same 9%. But make sure that the interest amount is in the same also time frame as the amount that was invested. So now we get 9% in the scenario. Then we go to 1.9. 1.9 says you borrowed a certain sum of money. Do we know how much was borrowed? We don't know. But we know that certain sum of money is the amount or the present value from the money lender above, meaning from the same money lender who charges 9% of interest, because we have discovered that the money lender is charging 9%. I don't know why I removed. We know that the money lender is charging 9% per annum. So now you borrow money from the money lender who charges 9% per month from above on the 22nd of March. So you borrow this on the 22nd of March and you pay it on the 7th of August or of the same year. And you settle the debt by paying back 2,325 rand 1 cent. And on the 7th of August of the same year, settled the debt by paying 2,325 rand 1 cent. How much interest was you charged? Remember, a year is out of 365 days. So now, first of all, we need to calculate our N, which is in days. Then after, if this is our N, and our N is in days, we then now need to say, when did we borrow the amount? On the 22nd of March. March is how many days? March has 31 days. So now March has 31 days. We need to say 31. I want to verify this one with the months because I know by height, but I want to make sure that you master them. So March has 31 days, then it will be 31 minus the date the amount was borrowed, of which the date the amount was borrowed is the 22nd, minus 22. That means in the month of March, we will have 9 days. Then in the month of April will have all the days, which is 30 days. In the month of May, it will be the whole 31 days. In the month of June, it will be 30 days. We know that July is 31 days. In the month of August, only 7 days, because you paid back on the 7th of August. So now we can say 9 plus 30 plus 31 plus 30 plus 31 plus 7. You paid it on the 7th. So we can say that we have 139 days in which the amount that you borrowed was borrowed for. So we will have to convert this into annual equivalent if our interest is not per month, is not per day, is per annum. Now we have 139 days. Let me just verify that. We have 22. 31 minus 22 equals 9. April is 30 days. May is 31 days. June is 30 days. July is 31 days. August, we only need 7 days. It is 138 days. So with that 138 days, I don't know how I got to 139. It was just the miscalculation. All the months are correct, then we have 138 days in which this amount was borrowed. So now with this 138 days in which the amount was borrowed becomes then our N. In this case, what are we given? We are given the amount that was paid back, which is the sum accumulated of the future value. That means if we are given sum accumulated, we need to say sum accumulated equals A into 1 plus I times by N. Then we are looking for the interest in this case. So now we say our sum accumulated equals 2,325 rand 1 cent equals amount invested, and how much interest was you charged. Now in this case we first need to know the amount that was invested. How much interest was you charged? We are looking for the amount that was invested first. Then after I will be able to calculate the interest that was charged on us, because we don't know how much was borrowed. It says you borrowed a certain sum of money. We first need to get the amount that was borrowed. Then after we get the amount that was borrowed, then we can calculate the interest that were charged. So now we say A is to 1 plus I. Remember our I is 0.09, which is the 9%, because this money lender is charging 9% of the interest rate as calculated above. And we multiply this by 138 divided by 365. Then that is the number of days in a year. Then we will get the amount that was borrowed, which will be our A. Then A will be equal. Let us then go straight. Then you say open brackets, start over the equal sign, 1 plus 0.09 times by 138 divided by 365. Then this gives us 1 point something. Then you say then we say 1.0340274 030 0340 274. A equals 2325.01. Then after we say 2325.01 divided by 1.0340 274, then that will be dividing 1.0340 274. Remember, whatever you do on the left hand side, you also do it on the right hand side. Then we divide by 1.0340 274. This cancels this. We are left with amount invested equals 2,248 rands. 2,248 rands 50 cents. So this is the amount that was borrowed for the period of the 138 days. And this is the amount that we paid back, 2,300, because this money lender for every 24 rands is charging only 18 cents. So now we do have our A. The reason why we needed A is not because A was required. It's just that we did not have enough information to calculate our interest. Remember, if we knew the sum accumulated, and if we knew A and we already know our N, then we could have calculated our interest, but we could not. Even with the formula that says I is equal to interest amount divided by A times by N, we could not use this formula also. Why? Because we cannot calculate the interest that was earned, because we don't have amount that was invested either way. So this A will still be missing, although I will be there. But the interest that was earned on the investment we couldn't know, because we only know the future value or the sum accumulated and not the amount that was invested. So that is why now it was necessary for us to first calculate the amount that was invested. using this formula. Why? Because in this formula we are provided with sum accumulated, and again there's a formula that says A is equal to interest divided by I times n. We could not use this formula either to calculate our A. Why? Because we don't know how to calculate the interest amount, because to get to the interest amount we still need to know the amount that was invested. So there was no way to calculate the amount that was invested except using this formula of sum accumulated, because A is to 1 plus I times n. So now we can calculate the interest rate, the interest that was charged for this investment. Then now the interest that was charged for this investment, it is very clear. It's not the interest percentage that we're looking for, it is the interest amount. So even the interest amount that says interest equals A over I times by n, we could not use it because we don't know our A, and we also looking for the interest, but we don't know our A. We are given only sum accumulated, and in this formula we don't have sum accumulated, so there was no way for us to calculate our A in any of the ways. So hence we needed to use this formula to calculate the amount that was invested. Then now we need to calculate the interest that was earned. Interest equals the future value or sum accumulated of 2,350, 2,310. Just verify this amount. 2,000. Interest equals 2,325.01 minus amount invested 2,248.50. So this is the difference between the two, will give us the interest that was incurred on this investment, minus 2,325.01. So this will give us 76.51 cents. 76 rand 51 cents is the interest that was earned on the investment. And I think I forgot that the interest is there when I was doing some of the explanations. So future value minus present value will give us the interest that was earned on the investment, which is the interest that was at the same time paid by the person who borrowed money. How much interest was you charged is from the person who borrowed. At the same time, the person who invested by borrowing another person was earning the same interest. Then we go to the last example, which is example number 10. Just in few minutes, but I won't be very quick. I want to make this one very clear because it has some very important dimensions. A person makes two investments. Again, how many? Two investments, both at simple interest. The one investment is 3.5, invested at 13% per annum, and the other investment, which is RX, which is the unknown investment, is invested at 11%. So we know the rate of the second investment and the rate of the first investment, but we don't know how much was invested in the second investment. The total interest that was earned on his two investments after year one is 680 rand 50 cents after year one, meaning the period in this case is 1. Determine the average rate of interest earned by the two investments. In this case, we are calculating the average rate of interest, and when they say average, they say average. So keep it average. Remember, average, it will be total interest earned divided by total investment. So now let us first calculate the amount of the investment that was earned in the second investment. Then how do we do that? The amount that was earned in the second investment, we have to say how much do we have? We have our interest earned for both investment, which is interest on investment 1 plus interest on investment 2 equals 680 rand 50 cents. How to calculate the interest on the investment? Interest on the investment formula says A times I times N. for the first investment plus A times I times N for the second investment. This gives us 680 Rand 50 cents. So we need to substitute our A for the first investment, which is 3.5, the interest 0.115 or 0.13, times by how long? 1, because this is interest only after year 1, just at the end of year 1, plus amount invested, which we don't know. We multiply this by 0.11 multiplied by 1, then this will give us 680 Rand 50 cents. So now let us again calculate and say 3.5 times by 0.13 times by 1, multiplying anything by 1 gives you the same thing. So now we have 455. This is the interest for the first investment minus the total interest on the investment, which is minus total interest on the two investment of 680.50 will give us interest on the second investment as 225 Rand 50 cents. And I like this way that I do things all the time. Then we say plus, this will give us 0.11A is equal 680.50. I hope you understand what I'm calculating there. I'm calculating for the interest on the second investment, because this is the total interest for the two investment minus interest for the first investment. Then this will give us the interest for the second investment. Then I want to erase this one, but it's fine. Then now we go to the continuation. We have to take this over the equal sign. When we take this over the equal sign, we will be left with 0.11A equals, then when this goes over the equal sign, it will be 680.50 minus 455, which will give us the interest of the second investment as 225 Rand 50 cents. Divide by 0.11, this cancel this, divide by 0.11, then our amount that was invested for the second investment will be divided by 0.11. It will be 2,050 Rand, meaning this is the X that we were solving. This is the X that we're solving. 2,050 Rands is what we're looking for. Now that we do have the X that we're looking for, then let's go and substitute the X that we're looking for. 2,050 Rands. Remember, you continue with the calculations. I'm just doing this because of the limited space. So we have our X, which is 2,050 Rands is what we're looking for. But the main question was to calculate or determine the average interest. Now, remember the average interest, is the total interest earned we have 3.5 plus 2,050. Then you say 2.5 plus 3.5 plus 2,050. We get to say the total is 5,550. Don't forget to multiply this by 100. Therefore, now that means we can say 6,000 or 680.50. 680.50 divided by 5,000. 550, we then divide, we multiply that by 100 after, we get to 12.26126% per annum. This is the average rate of interest if two investments were made, another one 3.5 at 13%, another one at 2050 at 11% for a period of a year, and the two they earn interest of 680 rand 50 cents. So the average interest rate will be 12.62%. Yeah, with that, guys, thank you very much. I've covered all the questions that have to do with the simple interest, and now we will be heading to what we call bills of exchange. Thank you very much. Allow me to say bye bye.